In this case, I can't flip it around. I can just turn the camera.
All right, we'll let a few people log on here. All right, we are getting there. All right. There we go. All right, what is up, everybody? Chris Curtis here with Rockwall ISD. I'm here with, of course, the voices of your Heathhawks and Rockwall Yellow Jackets, Dan Britton and Billy Quinn. Of course, we are here at Eka Nutrition. Thanks again for John Hannigan for having us here, housing us here for the hour for our show, of course. Of course, if you don't know where this place is, just look up. There's a giant Texas flag right out front. Come up here. We're giving away free popcorn for the entire hour, so that's pretty cool. Thanks to Eka Nutrition here. So come on by, say hey to everybody, and come get some free popcorn. We also have some free tickets for this weekend, so looking forward to giving those, or this week. So looking forward to giving those away as well. So, guys, first things first, let's start with the Heathhawks. They, of course, played on Thursday night. A beautiful 38-10 victory over Keller Timber Creek. Stan, the day was won. Coach Spradlin is officially 1-0 here at Rockwall ISD and over there at Heathhawk Nation. So how did the Hawks get this done? A lot of new players, a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
Things got done past week.
They did. A new day for your Hawks as Coach Mike Spradlin starts his tenure at Heath, and really you couldn't ask for anything better. 38-10 win, a very dominating win for the Hawks, and lots of new young players that are contributing to this team, and a very exciting day. When you have the student section yelling, "We love Spradlin" at the end of the game, I don't know that you can ask for much more as far as the Mike Spradlin era at Heath.
Absolutely. 38-10, of course. Talk about the new faces, some great new players that we saw, of course. QB1 for this game was Mr. Hoover. Of course, found a new receiver in Jaden Jones, who's going to be special this year in his senior year. But kind of talk about the things that stuck out, including those two.
So it looks like Hoover's going to be your quarterback moving forward. I don't know that there's going to be a battle anymore. Tavin did take a couple of snaps, but it was Josh Hoover's job for the rest of the way. And on the second series, set a school record. You have a 98-yard touchdown pass from Hoover to Jaden Jones, the senior transfer from North Garland, that sets a school record, longest pass, longest catch in the history of Heath football. And really a great play, well-designed play. That I was talking with some of the offensive coaches. They saw the play on the first series, didn't call it, and said if we get that set up again, that's the call. And sure enough, it turned into 6 points and a school record 98-yard touchdown.
Absolutely, and of course, if you are logging on with us right now, be sure to ask our two experts of Rockwall football and Rockwall Heath football some questions that maybe you want answered as far as this week. They have the inside scoop with our coaches as well. So ask away. Of course, let's switch gears just for a minute to get Rockwall involved here. A wild one on Friday night, 66 points for Highland Park. Unfortunately, Rockwall came up just a little bit short in that game. But of course, part 4 between Highland Park and Rockwall was everything you could imagine and maybe just a little bit more.
It does not disappoint, does it? I can't remember a year that Rockwall and Highland Park getting together has been a disappointment. It was an incredible game, one of the best games you could just chalk up for any kind of matchup. And everything was going on in this one. You have the quote-unquote veteran quarterback, second year, Chandler Morris, doing well for Highland Park. And then we got our, scrappy new kid coming in, the sophomore Braden Locke, and he put on a bit of a show of himself. So very much a good start for Braden, throwing for 569 yards.
Let's say things are kind of locked in at Rockwall. Is that cheesy
we
enough yet, or you haven't used that one yet?
We have no quarterback controversy. He's doing all right. 569 yards, 5 touchdowns, and then of course you're throwing to the all-world receiver Jackson Smith, 311 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, and people aren't even talking really much about, and they should be, about Zach Henry. He chimes in with 159 yards rushing, and so a great. We have the number one quarterback in passing yards, the number 1 receiver in receiving yards, and the number 4 running back in rushing yards in the area. So couldn't ask for much more other than getting that win. It was just a matter of stopping that prolific Highland Park offense, and Rockwall, had to get the stop. They had a 17-point lead, couldn't hang on. That's the way it happens in this series. Rockwall has come back a couple times. Down 21 2 years ago, or last year, and then down 11 with about 3 minutes left to play in 2017 and winning that one. So, outstanding ball game, outstanding atmosphere, and you want to get the win, but things seem to be on track for that Rockwall offense. And we'll tighten a few things on the Rockwall defense, and let's button those chin straps and let's go at it.
Yep, of course, if you were watching the game or listening to the game, and if you weren't able to be there, the atmosphere was absolutely incredible for opening night for Rockwall. The place was packed. Of course, you have the Jerry Jones helicopter flying in, of course. He spent some money today, actually, as well. So I'm sure he had a lot in his mind. Of course, Dak Prescott was there as well with Jerry. So a lot going on. When people see the score of this game, they're going to say the defenses aren't good. What we're seeing now is kind of what has happened in years past, where these two teams have just prolific offenses. Of course, Chandler Morris, what a stud he is. Of course, both quarterbacks and Mr. Locke showing that he could do it, of course, with Jackson. What do you say to the people that say, well, these two teams clearly don't have defenses? As we've all seen in the last couple of years, this gets fixed pretty quick.
It'll get fixed pretty quick, but you're not going to face these kind of offenses too often, and that's the issue. It's, I don't care who plays Rockwall. Allen last year could not hold the Rockwall offense. There's no team last year that stopped the Rockwall offense, and as I look back, there was hardly any teams that stopped the Highland Park offense last year. They went on to their third straight state title. This is the thing you have to look at. Yeah, are there some things they need to work on? Of course there are. There were some moments that Rockwall had that they probably could have, made some plays. They did get 2 interceptions, both of them Jake Edwards with 2 picks at linebacker. They blocked a field goal. And they had other opportunities. But when you put these two offenses out there, when they have to keep up 1-for-1 and you got to hold serve, especially with Rockwall too, 4th down really for most of this year is not going to be a punting down for Rockwall unless it's something that's just drastic. I think Rockwall's going to use all 4 downs, so that's going to make it even tougher on opposing defenses. It made it tougher on Highland Park. And so I just think that let's tap the brakes a little bit. The defense is going to be fine. Coach France does an outstanding job as defensive coordinator. And let's remember last year, Rockwall gave up a good amount of points to Highland Park. And by the end of the year last year, that defense was setting the tone and was doing well. And that'll happen again this year. You got a big turnover for the kids coming into play. And there's a lot of scheming that Rockwall has to do. We mentioned this on the air. We don't have any size at all. But we got speed. And we're going to have to scheme and we're going to have to use that speed. And it takes a few games to kind of get in that groove, and come back and talk to us when you get 2 or 3 games under your belt and see what that Rockwall defense is doing.
Of course, a lot of senior leadership on that defense as well, so that'll be something that they will get fixed very quickly. Speaking of defenses not being able to get things fixed against Jackson Smith, the kid is absolutely incredible. If you've been under a rock the last couple of years, he is an Ohio State commit. He is on the verge of breaking several state records, of course. So let me update everybody on what he needs left. He needs 1,768 yards to become the 3rd player in state history to reach 5,000 career receiving yards and just 1,534 yards to move into 3rd place on the state's all-time list. We've had a lot of great wide receivers come through this town, a lot of great running backs, a lot of great quarterbacks. When it's all said and done, and we're probably going to talk about this every single week. Stan, you could probably attest this as well. You know Jackson really well. This kid is very, very special, and I think these records are going to be broken here in the next couple weeks, if not before district even starts. He's that good.
Yeah, hands down the best to come through here. I'm just going to say it. He really is. As far as an all-around player, of course, as receiver, he's unbelievable. But he led the team, or was tied for the lead in interceptions last year for him. He doesn't hardly play defense, but when he did get in there, he made plays. Of course, he returns punts, returns kicks. Had a touchdown last year as a punt returner. Holds for kicks. Comes in at quarterback. He did this ball game. Had an 11-yard run at quarterback. So he can do everything.
Would you say he's such a good receiver he can catch the other quarterback's passes too?
Yes, he can.
He can do it all.
That's how good he is.
He can do it absolutely
That's
all.
how good he is. And so
I think the stats that they're showing are wrong. They're only showing 269 yards on Friday night, which he had 311. Yeah. So add about 40,
we're still working on those
yards
stats for sure.
Yeah, 40 yards to those stats. I mean, he's even closer to breaking those records than what they have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a couple screen passes that they at the time Dallas Morning News had as a lateral, and they weren't. They were forward passes.
That's unreal.
And by the way, speaking of forward passes, congratulations for Heath working the forward pass.
We are. We're actually throwing the ball.
Amazing how many things can happen
across the line of scrimmage. It's
very excited about that.
When you look at the fact that we had 15 offensive touchdowns the entire year last year. You guys had 15 offensive touchdowns in one ball game.
On Friday.
Friday night. But yeah, to see a completely different offensive scheme. Hoover goes over 300 yards passing on 10 completions. Now, granted, 100 of that was on basically one play, but just an entirely different scheme, an entirely different look for the Hawks. Really impressive all the way around. Actually scored in all three phases of the game. Had an interception return for a touchdown. Special teams did really well, scoring points as well. But yeah, the forward pass was a great addition to the offensive scheme.
I love that.
And it's really paid great dividends.
So when Coach Spradlin came in, did he have to talk to a lot of the players? Okay, here's what you've probably seen it. We can actually throw this pass across the line.
Yeah, it can be done.
And get it over players and score.
And we joke, but the reality is when you add offensive weapons, when you add a weapon like Jaden Jones who complements Grant Watson, Casey Curtin really well, Hoover had 7 different receivers in the game. And that's a game changer as well. And the fact that you have multiple targets now, and then to have a rushing offense. I mean, Zach Henry carried the ball 15 times, 76 yards for the sophomore running back. It just adds a whole different element to the offense. Clearly not as prolific as what happened on Friday night, but for Heath in terms of riding the ship, definitely a good change of pace.
It was really good to see. And a receiving core that will get their due. Heath has one of the best, receiving cores, I think, that, in the area also. You're going to see that.
Yeah.
We have score predictions from Nick. He just posted on our Twitter. 52-17 this week in favor of Rockwall, and 20-17 and a nail biter for Heath.
All right.
So I'll take those two.
We're talking Nick Harris?
We're talking Nick Harris. Nick Harris.
Future ESPN.
Future Mr. ESPN
Sports
pointing in
Center.
on here, of course.
Yeah.
So
I'll take that, Nick. You might have to take that up with Spradlin. He has other expectations as far as the number of points.
There you go.
And let's just say multiply your prediction for Heath
times
by
3.
Yeah, 3. Good conversation that happened. Just kind of recapping on Friday night. I mean, obviously, lots of penalties for the Hawks. 9 penalties for, I believe, 85 yards against the Hawks on Friday night. So, we even walked out of the stadium, or Thursday night, walked out of the stadium Thursday night and just said, good win, we'll take it. You're 1-0, exactly how you wanted to start it, but lots of things to work on for the Hawks as they look ahead to Wiley coming up.
Absolutely, and we are here at Eco Nutrition here in the shopping center where Rockwall Sportscenter is located. Just come 2 doors down next to Pizza Getty's and look up for the giant Texas flag. You come find us. We do have some tickets to give away, and also we're giving away free popcorn here thanks to Eco Nutrition as well. So come on by and say you were watching the show. As far as this evening goes, John will hook you up with some free popcorn as well. Let's give away some free tickets for this week's game at home. It's a Heath game. It is against Wiley. We'll talk about that here in just a second. We have 4 tickets and a parking pass, so if you want to email me at chris.curtis@rockwallisd.org, first person to give me that email in, we'll have tickets waiting on them tomorrow at Central Admin. Looking forward to giving those tickets away. Hooking up a family of 4 and a parking pass. You can't go wrong with a parking pass these days.
That's right.
Those are more valuable than the tickets itself.
And then Chris Lyles, if you're out there watching, make sure and come by Eco Nutrition. We got the $50 Rockwall Sports Center gift card, so it's right here.
Naughty's going to give it to Billy, and it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Billy's just going to buy orange stuff with it, and we really need it to stay red and black. That's the only request.
That's the only request.
Spend some money on red and black here. So
sure, absolutely.
We were all black pretty much Friday night. So
That's the colors are changing.
I want to say this: the angry orange jerseys, the black and orange. I was like, those are
sharp.
Legit looking jerseys. They look sharp. So
I do have to acknowledge the old Rockwall. It was hard for them, and I get that. I get it. But players love them.
I do.
A lot of the people that are newer to the area loved them, and we scored 59 with them. So they have a little.
Keep it rolling.
Keep them in rotation.
Yeah.
And Hawks
And
have red shells.
Yeah.
Red
Yeah.
jerseys.
The Hawks
with,
jerseys looking good
white
too.
Numerals. Yeah,
Yep.
I was laughing. I got a text early on in the broadcast from our old friend Steve Deere.
Yes.
The retired. We'll say
Retired
retired voice of the Hawks. And he said, "What do you mean home jerseys that you can actually read the numbers from the press box?"
Yeah.
On the field, that was the majority of the consensus was being happy about that as well.
It's a new day. It's a new
Yes.
day. We can read the jersey numbers from the press box.
Forward pass, jersey you can read. You're just checking them
literally
off.
winning
Yeah,
the day.
Spradlin's
Spradlin's
about 5 for
popular.
5. Right? Yeah, he's about 5 for 5. He
He
can't
is.
lose. He can't lose. So.
And let's wrap up one more honor. Of course, I know Billy is enjoying every single moment that he can of this. Dave Campbell's and Honda
Congrats,
Cars
Billy.
in Texas were able to present Billy with, in his first week on the job, First week on the job, he's
Teacher
already
of the
winning.
year?
He's
You
winning.
know,
He's
it's the teacher of the
that's
year.
coming on down the
Teacher
road. But tell everybody that wasn't there. We'll post pictures, of course, after about what you were presented with at the pep rally, and then, of course, at the game on Friday night.
Yeah, it was with the North Texas Honda dealers, and then Dave Campbell's Texas Football. I was just honored that I was chosen as a community. I think it was a community helper. They want to recognize people that do a lot of stuff around the area, and there's a lot of people that do a lot more than I do. So I was just blessed to be able to have that opportunity, get to go on the field and panic because I had to leave the pregame show up to David Arako and David Sweet, and I could just see wheels flying out the window of the press box up there as I wasn't up there, but everything stayed under control, and I got to go on the field and get presented and get on the scoreboard and all that kind of stuff, and had it at the pep rally too, so I got to embarrass my daughter in the stands. So
that's even better.
Win right there. Yeah.
What more could you ask for?
But I really want to thank them for there was a football, and so it's really cool football that has your name on it and all that.
And you already have the gold case for it and everything.
Oh, case is ready.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
case has been there.
Renovations this summer.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
We got a new wing.
big
Yeah,
gold
added
room.
a wing at the Quinton
Yeah.
compound.
Quinton Estate.
Quinton Estate.
Yeah.
We're moving on up, of course.
Yeah. So,
Well, congratulations
Thank
once
you.
again. That's a great honor for
I know I
you.
had you panicking because I'm like, Chris, I got to get back
We
up there.
had to get him back up, and I needed to make sure we were good to go, of course, because everybody wants some Billy Quinton, so we're all good. But once again, congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you and
Thank
Stan. Aspirations now to maybe go up there. And,
it's
One day,
basically
Stan.
it's my whole life.
yeah,
I just
you got to
wanna
put
be at
everything
school.
up there.
One of these days, I'm going to have double-digit years of broadcasting for the Hawks, and then I'll be as cool as Billy Quinton.
Well,
We got a
Goals in life. Hashtag
You've already
life goals.
hashtag life goals. Got a
Yeah.
comment from Yo Boy Cal. I'm a ball boy at Rockwall games, and I love it. So absolutely, so we
There you go.
appreciate him for watching, and of course for being a ball boy at Rockwall games. Good for him. And
But he was tired Friday
I bet you were very tired on Friday, of course. So let's look ahead. We'll kind of maybe move back here to week one here in a minute, but let's look ahead. Let's start with Heath. Of course, Heath will stay home this week. They will take on Wiley. If I remember correctly, this was the game that didn't end until about 1:30 to 2 last year because of all the rain delays.
And you just spoke that into the universe for this year.
Yes, it's going to be 103, they said, so you should be okay. I think you'll be good. It'll
Burn
just be
off all the
really hot. So talk about this game. Of course, Wiley coming off of a loss as well. Heath coming off as a win. So kind of talk about that and looking forward to as far as Wiley goes this week.
So this week last year was the only pre-district win for the Hawks, a 38-20 win that did end about 1:30 in the morning. Lots of rain delays, and obviously we want to avoid that this year. But the Hawks looking to go 2-0 for the first time since 2015 as they welcome the Pirates over from Wiley. Wiley coming off 14-6 loss to Prestonwood Christian. I was looking at the stats. Wiley was able to put up about 150 yards total offense, and 120 of that coming on 2 plays, their first 2 drives. So, really don't know what to expect. Wiley's always prepared to play, and you never know what you're going to get. But defense is going to be the thing for them. They were able to hold Prestonwood Christian to about 220 yards of total offense and 14 points. So, really looking at how the Wiley defense is going to face off against this high-powered offense for Heath. Able to score 38 points against that defense last year. Sprad wants to put quite a few more points up this year, and so it'll be interesting to see how the Pirate defense faces off against the Hawk offense.
And I believe the last time Wiley actually beat Heath was in the playoffs at Jerry's World. I believe that was the last time.
Yep.
So got a nice little streak going. I think it was the area round, if I remember correctly.
I think that's right.
As far as that goes.
Yep.
So kind of talk about a little bit about what Coach Sprout's going to be looking for in his second week here on the job as far as game-wise. What's the main thing he's going to be looking at and circling in his playbook this week, what he wants to see develop even more with this team?
Yeah, I think the phrase of the week right now is managing success. I mean, we've been talking about it, a lot of hype around the South Side and just kind of what's going on. The team is excited, the program's excited, the school's excited. And so I think it's just managing success. It's coming in, sticking to your game plan, playing your play, running your plays, playing your game, and really controlling it from the start. Obviously, a lot of young players that have not played varsity level, 6A football, and so in fact, I was doing some research last night. There are 33 seniors on this Hawk team, 35 underclassmen.
Wow.
So a lot of kids who have not played at this level that are getting reps and getting to play. And so I think it's going to be managing expectations and playing against a team that that does come prepared defensively and can give you fits. And so sticking to the game plan, allowing the play to develop. One of the things we were talking about yesterday was just allowing the offensive line to do their job, to open holes, to make sure that plays develop, and not lose your cool, not give up penalties. Looking at a game that you win in week 1 by 28, but seeing mistakes that you could easily fix and could have been another 10, 14, 17 points on the board for the Hawks. And those are the adjustments they want to make this week.
Absolutely. And switch gears over to Rockwall. Rockwall facing their Cross Lake rival, and of course the Eagles of Rowlett. So kind of talk about what is Rockwall. Same question. What's Rockwall looking at as far as what Ronnie Webb's looking at game film this week? What's he saying? Obviously the defense, get that adjusted, and the offense is clicking. What else do we need to look at here as far as this game goes on Friday?
Well, this is a game that I think a lot of people gets under the radar a little bit. That it's a rivalry game. They've been playing each other, all the way back to 2007 consistently. And Rockwall leads in that series 8-5, but last couple times, in fact, last 3 times last year,
we got the rain.
We had the rain. We never played it.
Yeah.
And then the year before, Rowlett won that one in a shootout. Again, that was one at the Cotton Bowl. And that was, you're talking about managing success, and that was what Rockwall had to deal with the last time they played was Rockwall had just beaten Highland Park. Then they go to the Cotton Bowl to play Rowlett, figure they're just going to walk through that one, and Rowlett jumped out to a huge lead that Rockwall could never overcome, and they got their first loss of the year against the team that I think most would agree was not as talented as Rockwall. But
Sure.
It's about keeping focus and all that. And I think, as we go back to this year playing Rowlett, we want to keep that offense on track, which, I would assume will continue. And the defense obviously has to tweak a few things. They're going to go up against an offense in Rowlett that they did not manage a ton of yards. They lost 31-7 to Prosper. They got to open up the new stadium that Prosper has out there, and I'm sure it was a madhouse and probably a bit overwhelming. That's a tough thing to do, to be the first opponent in a brand new stadium, especially a team as good as Prosper. So they got the loss there, so they're going to be looking to come back out and get that first win of the year. It's against the team they play all the time. You got a connection there with Coach Stevens, former Yellow Jacket coach, is now has been the head coach there for 6 years at Rowlett. It's always a good game, always, and I look forward to it. It's a great tradition to play them. If we didn't play, for a few years we were in that Garland district and played them as a district game. But if not, we always make sure to schedule them as a non-district game and alternating back and forth between playing here, and then this year we're at Homer B, and I really like going to Homer B. That's a cool place to go play. So it'll be fun. It'll be a great atmosphere. It's an easy drive just across the lake. We'll take the JFND yacht across the lake to do the broadcast, so that'll be fun. And we'll see what happens. But obviously the main thing will be let's work on the defense some. Let's get a few more stops, see what we can do there, and bring home a win, get the first win of the year, and even it up at 1-1.
Just in case anybody's wondering, the JFND yacht, that's no tax dollars spent on that.
No,
that's all private sponsors.
That was donated.
Yeah,
that was donated.
Yeah. Just to be safe. You want to be safe.
I mean, Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott will be on the yacht with us, I'm sure.
yeah.
But
might as well add Zeke in there as well. He's got the money now.
Zeke's definitely a cowboy. I mean, of course he's going to be coming over.
Sure. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Why not?
Got a comment. Spearman and Rich are going to go off this week. #kickers.
Yeah. Spearman had a good game. He's tired. He had to kick about 34 extra points, but nailed his first field goal. As he's, he kind of split duty a little bit with Landry Poppin last year, but he didn't get to have any field goal attempts. But this season he did. He nailed his first one, and so I only see bigger and better things for our kicking game.
I got to throw this in there. Speaking of kickers,
Yep, that was my next thing.
Bijan Nichols hits his first career field goal at Navy, freshman kicker, 43-yard field goal, and it looked beautiful. Bijan going through his pre-kick routine as he always does, and it was a little bittersweet to not get to call Bijan Nichols for the first time in 4 years, and not get to call the name Bijan Nichols on a Heath Hawks broadcast, but to see him on Saturday having success. Definitely proud of a kiddo.
And then
from Rockwall.
On Rockwell's side as well.
Yeah. Let's keep it with the military schools.
Yeah.
As Cole Talley got a couple extra points and was their main kicker for Army.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they lost to Rice, I believe. He got in and he's getting his first action. So congratulations to Cole, and he's going to be nailing a few. And it is weird to see those guys that, Cole is in the same class as my son. They graduated a couple years ago, so it's something that I've known Cole forever and these kids. And so to see them out there doing these great things with these major schools. Sam Crawford got his first touchdown reception for Tulsa. former Yellow Jacket receivers. So it's fun to see a lot of the kids doing things out there. And as soon as Minnesota gets it right and sticks Jacob Clark in at quarterback, they're going to be reeling off a bunch of wins. So it's going to be some good stuff.
A lot of good Hawks and Jackets out there this past weekend in college football. Go to our Twitter and check out everybody that's joined the party this past week. Of course, we have one NFLer that's going to be maybe starting as far as the Heath Hawk goes, Deshaun Elliott over there, up there in Baltimore, I guess. He's looking like he's ready to roll, and a lot of good things being said about him, so very happy for him as well. Of course, moving up the NFL ranks, got to go for the Ravens just a little bit, I guess, at this point for
our hometown kid.
For our hometown kid, of course. And of course, note that Rockwall game is a 7 o'clock kickoff.
Yes.
It's an early start on Friday, so make sure that you get to the stadium early for that one as well. Of course, this Friday for Rockwall.
And I will say, I don't know if this is true, but there probably is talk that we need to move up the kickoff for the Highland Park game from here for the next few years,
you're not finishing
so that we don't
at
get home at
11.
midnight like we did this last one. So
Move it back to 5 p.m. and get it all going for that one. Of course, those are fun.
We can still get home by 11
By
or something.
midnight,
Yeah.
Absolutely, of course. Looking around the district, of course, all eyes were on Longview as well this past week. They got a win 24-21 this past weekend against Lufkin. So a little bit of a squeaker then for them as well. Of course, they are the top dog in this district as well. Kind of talk about what you saw as far as district goes. Dan, we'll start with you.
Just looking, and I had it pulled up here, but looking at a couple of big wins that were really interesting to me for 11-6A is you have 11-6A teams that we were talking about last week that are beating state-ranked teams. Tyler Lee got a big win over Marshall. Just some really key victories for the district over state-ranked opponents. It was really, really awesome to see.
Yeah, and we said, going in, this district was going to be tough. I think a lot of people may have laughed at that a little bit, thinking of seeing the other teams in the district. But sure enough, like Stan said, Billy, of course, the district is looking, at least as of week 1, looking like it's going to be back in the top 2 or 3 in the state.
Well, the only two teams to lose in the district were Rockwall, then North Mesquite lost the squeaker to Sam Houston. All the other teams won. Mesquite got a win against Lake Highlands, and we talked about Mesquite.
Yep.
Looks like they get their legs under them.
They
started improving last year, and they're continuing it this year. And then Horn, and that win against John Tyler is very impressive.
John Tyler being the number 10 5A team in the state. I mean, we're talking about big ones. I was just getting to pull it up here. Number 10 5A team, John Tyler. Horn beats them by double digits. And then you've got Tyler Lee beating the number 7 5A team in the state by a touchdown. Big wins, obviously, over lower classifications, but state-ranked 5A teams are nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, it's a big deal to get those wins. And again, I think just solidifies the strength of District 11-6A and what we have ahead of us here in a few weeks.
A couple things that are interesting are that Longview did just squeak by Lufkin. And as y'all know, Lufkin's a really good team. Played them in the playoffs last year. And, I know each new year has different players. But the other one I'm interested in is Horn. They now get to go take on Highland Park. And I believe Highland Park goes to Mesquite this time. And they got to deal with another offense, Highland Park does, because that Horn offense can move the ball too. So be interesting to see how that game turns out.
I definitely like Rockwall's odds better than Horn's in that game, though. But we'll see. I mean, we'll have to see how Horn is as far as that goes. As far as this week goes for Rockwall Heath, talk about how the emotions were very high last week for getting their first win since the last game of the year last year, but didn't get a lot of them last year.
Sure.
Talk about how winning a game like that in convincing fashion, is it play into more of a trap game this week for Rockwall Heath, or do they actually take that mojo and keep on going and try to roll off that?
Yeah, I don't think it's a trap game. I think this is what Spradlin expected. He expected to win the first week. And you got to look at it. I mean, Timber Creek, they beat Heath last year by 37 points, 47-10. But it's a team that goes 2-7 the rest of the way. So it's not something 1-7 the rest of the way. So you're talking about a team that you would expect to beat. And I think it just goes to show you the difference a year makes with this Rockwall Heath team, being able to come in, get a convincing win over a team that beat them pretty handedly last year, playing against the same quarterback a year ago, Jason Akers, who had a really good game. They just had some things that didn't go their way, and they struggled. So I think coming into this Wiley game, they expect them to be strong defensively. Wiley struggled on offense, and that's where I think the Heath defense is going to have to capitalize. It very well could be a trap game, but I think it's going to be the difference between the Hawks defense playing against which Wiley offense is going to show up. They're going to score points, or are they going to struggle?
Absolutely.
And depending on which team shows up, it's going to make the difference in this game. But Heath expects to win. Being at practice, it's a different intensity. They're prepared. Obviously, they're used to practicing in the heat now, playing in the heat now, and watching a Wiley team that clearly struggled against Prestonwood Christian last week. I think Spradlin's ready to see this team go out, do what they came to do, what they're prepared to do. Let's score 50 or 60 points if we can, and win another convincing one, go to 2-0, and look ahead to what's beyond that with Richland and McKinney North in the pre-district schedule.
Of course, trying to win the day each and every week, of course. Once again, we are at Eco Nutrition here in Rockwall. Of course, if you don't know where it is, just look up. You can find the giant Texas flag right here. Of course, we're in the shopping center with Rockwall Sportscenter and Pizza Getty and Cece's Pizza and all that. So come say hi. We're here about another 20 minutes or so, and then we'll be out of here, of course. But Billy, kind of the same type of question for you. Such an emotional game for Rockwall on Friday night, of course, trying to end. I think it was a 38 winning streak for Highland Park. It's pretty up there. Of course, the last time Highland Park lost was at the hands of Rockwall in 2017. So does a game like that take a lot of emotion out of this team, or is it lose Friday, wipe the slate clean Saturday, and we're moving on?
Well, I know that you're talking to Coach Webb that, as I mentioned before, that win over Highland Park led them to losing against Rowlett the next week, and there's a big part of it because of the letdown and the emotional high that you were on before. And that was a team that people forget. Rowlett lost 13-10 to, I believe, Louisville that season in 2017. And so going into it, you looked at like, man, they only scored 10 points, and Louisville wasn't anything to write home about. We're going to walk all over these guys, and Rowlett took it to us and scored, if I remember, like 48 points. I think we ended up losing that one 48-41. So you can't take anything for granted. And now the thing that is different now is that Rockwall did still lose. So that's something that I know that Coach Webb talks about. Every coach says this. I need something to work on every week, no matter how well it goes. You talked about the Heath win and all that, but there's penalties, and all that kind of stuff. So you need to work on these things. Well, Rockwall's got a number of things they still need to work on. They lost. That's one. They expected to win that one. The defense needs to tune some things up. So there's no way. I can imagine that these kids are going to show up and thinking that they can just walk out there and get the win against Rowlett. Rowlett's a very, very good team. So I'm sure the coaches are talking to them about a letdown. It is still an emotional high and it takes a lot of emotion to play those games, but you lost. We're looking at 0-2 if you don't go out there and play the way you're supposed to play. So I would anticipate a very solid game for the players, and everything should go, hopefully, according to plan. But it is something that you got to be aware of.
Absolutely. If you can't join us each and every week for our games, of course, log on to rockwallisd.com to listen to Stan and, of course, Billy on the Rockwall side as well. If you want to join in on our broadcast and be a sponsor, just email me, chris.curtis@rockwallisd.org. We'll make sure that happens. And also email me at chris.curtis@rockwallisd.org. If you want these Heath Hawk tickets, they are 4 tickets and a parking pass. If not, I will leave them here for John to give away to a lucky Heath Hawk fan. Talk a little bit about what you're going to be looking for as far as this week. Maybe a player that stood out to you that maybe doesn't have all the pomp out there right now, but a player that really excites you, maybe a young gunner out there that's exciting to watch as far as that goes. We talked about the kickers. We talked about our quarterbacks, our wide receivers. Maybe somebody else that you've seen. Stan, we'll start with you. Who should we be keeping our eyes on this week?
Yeah, so I'll say on the offensive side of the ball, Josh Peacock, right guard. You've got 2 sophomores, 2 juniors, and then the senior center, Kenny Rion, across the offensive line for the Hawks. And so, again, what we said a moment ago, where you've got underclassmen getting 6A varsity game speed going on. Josh is one of those kids that is going to be a difference maker in the running game, opening holes, getting outside, getting some downfield blocks for your Hawks, and I look to see him do well. And I'm gonna lay a challenge here for Billy. I'm gonna go offensive Josh Peacock, defensive Jaden Allen, defensive lineman who had a heck of a ball game on Friday night and looks to capitalize on that and add another great game to his resume for his senior season. But 2 great players, the junior Josh Peacock and the senior Jaden Allen.
Billy, how about you?
On defense, Tyler Ashworth is somebody I enjoy watching play. He's the free safety for Rockwall, and he does make a lot of plays. And I want to see what he does in this next game. He had a good game last week, and I want to see him continue it. And he's a turnover machine as far as he'll get the takeaways. And so last year, his first couple games, he had 3 interceptions. And so I would like to see now the turnovers come into play. He's in there making the plays as far as tackling and good coverage, but I want to see some turnovers. Jake Edwards had a really good game at linebacker for the Yellow Jackets, so that was a bit of a surprise. We know he's a good linebacker, but the 2 picks were very impressive, one on a tip pass and one where he read a screen and backed off and got the interception. On offense, there's 2 guys I'm thinking of. One is J.J. Williams, who's most of the time the opposite of Jackson Smith. He had 1 big catch, 42 yards and a touchdown, but I look to see him get more receptions this ball game. And Caden Marshall also working his way in. Caden's an exciting young sophomore that did not get his reception last week. Trevor Munson had a good game at receiver, and so I think that did not allow Caden probably to get as much time as he wanted to probably get in there. So I want to see what he can do. And one guy that he had a great game last week, and we just need to talk more about. First of all, this whole Rockwall offensive line. Braden Locke was not sacked the whole game, but Matt Joyce went against Prince Dorval, one of the top linemen in the state for Highland Park, who's going to be playing in
UT.
Texas. Yeah.
Yep.
And he had him under control. It wasn't until late in the game that Prince does make a play, and it was on a pick. It was the same thing that Jake did, screen pass that Rockwall was attempting, and Dorval read it, backed up, and got the interception. But Matt Joyce had an incredible game, and I want to continue to see what he does out there to keep paving the way for our running game and protecting Braden. But Matt is one of those guys that's a really, really good football player, and I expect him to continue to get more and more offers. He hadn't gotten as many offers as I thought a lot of us would expect. He's a quiet guy, and it's that position that you don't get a lot of attention, but it's because they're doing well.
Yep.
You know, you don't really.
You don't hear from them, they're doing well.
Exactly, and so for him to continue to play well as he has, and that's something I'll be looking at.
Yeah, he had a come and take it hat on in his promo shoots. He insisted on wearing it, so that clearly states
you can't
exactly.
Argue
you cannot argue them. Go for
turn
it.
You into powder.
Exactly like that. So, so that's great. So let's talk about as far as this goes. Looking more ahead, maybe at the schedule coming up as far as this goes. Of course, Rockwall will be back home week after next. They will have First Responders Night, which we're very excited about, sponsored by Rest Haven Funeral Home, to have Rockwall here at home against Bowie and talk a little bit about what that means, not only to the community, but being able to honor our first responders that night and have everybody out as far as that goes.
Well, that's Dwayne Kane, too, and Rest Haven, I believe they are the sponsor of this, and Dwayne is one of those kind of guys. That's one of his big priorities are the first responders and all those that stick their neck out for us every day that we sometimes take for granted, and that's a great game every year is that First Responders Night where all of them can come in the game for free. They'll be honored on the field if they choose to go down there, and that's a really, really cool atmosphere. And going against a good, Bowie won their first game, and then the other game that really is going to be a lot bigger than I previously anticipated, although they're always a good team, is Arlington Martin, who beat Lake Travis.
Oh, they're ranked,
That's a big
win.
That's a big
win for them.
So that's one where it kind of opens the eyes a little bit, going, whoa, okay, because Rockwall handled Martin last year pretty well. I don't see that happening this year. Martin is, and they have a history of having really good ball clubs. And maybe last year was just more of a down year. They still made the playoffs and stuff, but that's going to be a fun one. As we look at the schedule up ahead, we always talk about the Longview, the Heath game, and all that stuff in district. But that Rockwall Martin game is going to be something that everybody needs to circle because that could be a doozy. And it's here at Wilkerson Sanders. Last year we were at UTA Stadium to play it, but this year back at Wilkerson Sanders, and that's going to be a really, really good ball game. I forget the kid's name, the quarterback for Martin. He got to jump in at the last minute to be quarterback for Martin last year. They had an injury, and he last minute was a starter, came in and did pretty good. He's got a year under his belt.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. And obviously, I made a difference against Lake Travis. So that's another game I'm looking at.
Of course, Rockwall with First Responders, and right after that is homecoming. So it comes
real
fast, of course, as we all know. And then Heath, they're going to take their show on the road for the next 2 weeks after this week.
Yep.
Of course, they will travel to Richland in the brand new, well, I guess a year now old McKinney Stadium out there for McKinney ISD. Beautiful stadium off of the tollway. So kind of talk a little bit about what as far as Rockwall Heath goes. Richland first, and they, like you said, their eyes might be a little big in that new stadium out there in McKinney.
Yeah, I think, Richland obviously last year was a big loss. They came in rainy night. Of course, I think every game last year was a rainy night. Yeah, another rainy night, right? And so we dealt with that, kind of shut down both offenses, but Richland just played strong defense. And, expect them to do the same this year. And then, of course, we go to McKinney ISD Stadium, a big expose on them a couple of weeks ago, $69 million, $72 million stadium. That we get to go and see, and against McKinney North, that Had a down year last year, but a lot of returning starters, a lot of kids with experience, varsity experience that is going to be, that's their homecoming game on Thursday night. So you never. I think the Hawks have kind of got lumped into that. Yeah, let's schedule them for homecoming, and so that's the one that you want to win. You want to win in front of your home crowd, and the Hawks won't spoil that. Nobody knows what to expect, and so hopefully the Hawks are able to go in, continue to capitalize on success that they've had, and look to prepare for their own homecoming against Tyler Lee the first week of October, and hope to be a 4-0 team at that point.
Absolutely. It kind of seems like Rockwall Heath is trying to play that spoiler role, especially the entire what's kind of known about them at the moment. Not a lot expected of them.
Sure.
So if they can turn that into a positive and make one a nice little run here, that would be pretty special for Rockwall Heath. Absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, I think we are about to wrap it up here. We are at Eka Nutrition in Rockwall. Once again, thanks for John for having us out here. We are back here in about 2 weeks, I believe, for another shoot. Thanks to him. So thank you once again to Eka Nutrition. Formerly Max Muscle, but now Eka Nutrition. This is Billy's favorite spot. He comes here every single week.
Second home.
It's his second home.
If
so
you know me, you know healthy.
we know healthy for sure.
He's the poster boy.
Yeah. He's the poster boy.
In fact, they're doing a photo shoot after.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We're all going to get out of here for that, of course. Yeah. But once again, thanks for John for having us out. Great place, great stuff to come get your health on, of course. And if you come between now and closing, and if you say you watch the show, you get some free popcorn. That protein popcorn is very, very good. It tastes like protein, basically, but you can't stop. It's just awesome, and maybe you should get up on and try it sometime.
Well, it says I haven't been.
Well, there we go.
That's chiseled.
It's a gorgeous,
hashtag.
Gorgeous thing.
But I want to save it for all the people that are standing here behind the cameras.
There you go.
For as much as my beard is chiseled, Billy Quinn is chiseled.
I mean, you did say we were going to talk about Stan's beard while we were here on Twitter.
I'm always impressed by Stan's beard.
I saw the picture.
Always just kept so well.
Yes,
and like I said on Twitter, I look like an older Buddy Epson. So it's not exactly the picture of health, but you do what you can.
I love that you and I are trying to outdo each other in self-deprecating humor.
Mine's the truth, though, unfortunately.
But it makes this more fun. I enjoy it.
That's all that matters, of course. Once again, we're here at Eka Nutrition, so thank you again to John for having us here, proud sponsor of Rockwall ISD Athletics.
Chris Lyles, come see us.
We still need to find Chris Lyles out there. Now,
Billy's going to try to take.
Do we know Chris Lyles?
We do. Okay. We do. We've been communicating on Twitter.
So is he supposed to come here? Or?
I may just have to hang on to it, and we can meet up.
Because you give that to Billy, it's orange.
It is. It turns it orange.
It is absolutely orange.
We've got this on the south side right now, and so let's keep it there.
Absolutely. And once again, thank you to Rockwall Sportscenter as well for hosting our show each and every week. They sponsor this every week, and have been kind enough to let us go on the road for this as well. Hey, he's softball joining in. Good to see them logging in as well. Any final thoughts of this week as far as game goes? Of course, Rockwall Heath looking to go 2-0. Rockwall looking to avenge that big loss, or not really big loss, the big point spread as far as that Highland Park game goes. What are you looking for? Final thoughts as far as this week?
I think having a Friday night ball game. One of the things I know the coaches are looking forward to is getting the elementary school kids out, kids that may not have been able to come out to a Thursday night game. But a great crowd, great showing. On Thursday night, senior night, was a really neat experience to start the season with that, to have all those fans in the stands. But I know Spratt and the coaches are looking forward to a Friday night, have the elementary school kids out there, have a little bit more representation from the south side. And so open invitation. Come on, cheer loud, and cheer on your Hawks as they look to go 2-0.
Of course, if you want tickets, email me, chris.curtis@rockwallisd.org to get those seat tickets away. We'll have Rockwall tickets next week. But Billy, final thoughts. Big game this Friday night, 7 p.m. At HBJ.
Rockwall Rowlett, always good. Coach Stevens over there just got an email from him, so excited about that. And I do want to also talk about the fans Friday night. It was packed. Wilkes and Sanders was full. And then we had 6,000 hits on the broadcast, which translates to roughly around 10,000 listeners or so for that broadcast. So
it's like 1 million people.
It's over 1 million people.
Well, we're saying I grew up in a town that was 6,000, and so that was the whole town.
So the whole town of Lampasas
was listening to Billy Quinn.
Right, that's what I'm getting.
He is the pride and joy of Lampasas, absolutely.
And they're all watching, going, "I'm glad he's staying healthy." As they see me sitting
here. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you to all the fans and all those that listen in, because we really do enjoy everybody that shows up. Obviously, we want everybody at the stadium, but if you can't make it, you have to grit your teeth to listen to us. But we enjoy having you. Love all the text, all the messages that we get. We got a lot of parents that can't. They travel, and so they lean on that sometimes, and so. It's fun to hear Jackson Smith's dad, Mata. I believe it was Mata that texted, "Hey man, I can't be there," whatever. And so it's great to hear from them and let them know, he's doing all right. He's all right.
311.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So as soon as he gets on track, we'll be excited to see what he can do.
I wish he'd find the next gear.
Right. You got to go to that next level.
Yeah.
We're waiting on that. We're waiting.
Do we want to have a quick little thing here? Is Jackson the best player in the state of Texas at the moment? There are great players out there.
Yeah.
And I know there's a debate on Max Preps right now, and if he is quite possibly the greatest player in the state of Texas at the moment. Is that true?
I agree. I think so, yeah. I'm biased, but I think even those that are just coming in, I mean, my goodness, the guy just changes the game. Yeah. He is just a game changer. I can't imagine any opposing coach that doesn't sit there and just sweat the whole week trying to figure out how to deal with this.
How do we get 12 guys on the field
right,
for defense?
Right. So, yes, he is the best because it's not only because he's a great receiver. We talked about it before. He can do everything. He can play defense and do all these other things on the field. And not only just do it, he makes a difference doing it. So, yes, he's the best one in the state of Texas, in my opinion.
Agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think especially given all that's going on in the Tomball area, to have Jackson on the field and showing out like he is, I think he's the best player in Texas. Right
Absolutely. Well, that debate is settled at this point as far as that goes.
Little
of course,
little home
run call there, but it's all good.
We got it.
Of course, if you can't make football games, of course we have volleyball going around, cross country and tennis as well. So go out there and see them. I'll be at volleyball games next week and some pictures for our website and whatnot. So I'm excited to see everybody out there cheering on our volleyball teams. Of course, district's coming up here in about 2 weeks, so excited about that and get ready to roll for volleyball.
Those playoffs will be rolling around before you know it.
It will be here before you know it. Yeah.
Stan, you got to start,
You got to start training.
Start working on volleyball.
Right.
Absolutely. And last but not least, last week we kicked off the show. Of course, you guys had a little college football game going on against each other. I think I'm giving you the opportunity to do the humble brag here. And it was close. It was very close.
It's really only one thing.
There's the giggle.
Say.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
There you go.
I'm just.
There
you go.
You can't have a Dave Campbell's award and a Texas State victory in one weekend. It doesn't work that way.
I prayed for that.
You could have chosen the
and
other
God
way.
told me you got to pick one. I go with myself to get the award. But
that's all that matters.
No, but yeah, I'm proud of those cats. Brand new coach, all that. Got to go into Kyle Field and pull that out. And it was very close that first minute of the game. It was very, very close. And like I said, I told you all off the air.
Like 70 seconds. 75 seconds.
Before it ended up just being around, yeah.
And so that's when you knew. And then they had a pass interference call that I felt like was a 41-point swing early in the game there. And that's what the difference was to me.
It was an even game until kickoff.
Right. No, give us 2-3 more years, then you only beat us by like 30. And
there you go.
But we're going to keep plugging. I'm excited about Spanish
Everybody
ball.
has to schedule pre-conference games.
Right.
And might as well be Texas State.
Might as well be us. So pretty soon we're going to be, they don't want to schedule.
It'll be the Appalachian State.
Yes, we will. So, but thank you for bringing that up.
I just had to bring that up for you. I had to put you back on earth here for a little bit.
Thank you.
Of course, you have another big game this week as well. So
Aggies at Clemson Saturday afternoon. Last year a 28-26 loss, and Aggies looking to make that one right. Put a mark in the win column against Clemson. It's going to be a tough one playing at Clemson. I do not know how you go into a stadium full of 80,000 Orange faithful and see what happens. But I know the Aggies all week on Twitter. Jimbo's calling it. I mean, they're saying it's going to be an upset.
It's going to happen.
Of the century. So.
We'll see what happens, I guess.
And well, of course, we're going to talk about the Texas State-Wyoming game coming up.
That's the only game that actually
15, 20
matters.
minutes to that.
That's right. That's right.
So I want to encourage everybody, all of you watching that Texas State, pop over and watch the Aggie game a little bit. Just go ahead and check it out, see how they're doing, and then come back.
And then click right back.
And come back.
Wyoming, big win against Missouri.
Yeah, they did. It's a showdown.
It'll be fun. So NFL kicks off tomorrow. Of course, you have Rockwall and Rockwall Heath on. Not playing together. They have their games on Friday. Then you have a lot of good college football games Saturday.
Let's not forget about your album mater, the Texas
LSU.
You have the Saturday night special.
It'll be a great game. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's.
Are you going to suit up at running back?
I think they could probably use me, but it wouldn't help. I don't think it would be pretty bad. Maybe Jackson give me some pointers on how to.
Is there a better time in the year?
There's not. No, and we got the Cowboys on Sunday.
Now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're going to start tomorrow
24
on
hours.
Thursday.
Yeah.
We're going to start on Thursday and have incredible football all the way through Monday night. Then you get the double Monday night game. I love that. You have an early one and a late one. So you're not done with football until Monday night, like at midnight.
Yeah.
I mean,
all the way to
all you
February.
need are some Tostitos rounds, and
Right,
a can of bean
right,
dip,
and a
I mean,
little goodbye letter to the family.
Well, for
Yeah.
Billy, some protein shakes.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
that's-
you got to
Sorry,
compare it.
it's on the south side. We do Tostitos and bean dip.
No,
I know you got to.
I come in here, do some push-ups, and get me some
some protein popcorn.
some protein
Popcorn, yeah. Well, if you want some protein popcorn, come in between now and closing. Say you are a fan of the Rockwall Yellow Jackets or Rockwall Heath Hawks, you will leave with a bag of protein popcorn. So you get to have a bag before you leave. So
All right, I'm
good job.
excited.
So there you go. So we are wrapping up here at Eco Nutrition. Thanks everybody for logging on and talking to us. Of course, a lot of comments here. Enjoyed it with you guys. Next week we are at the Flower Box over at Rest Haven because they are sponsoring the First Responders Night. So looking forward to go over there and meet some people over there as well. Of course, Dwayne Kane and Miss Kane, great hosts as usual.
Are we going to get? If you're going to get one of them on the air, get Ann. Don't get Dwayne.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
just
go.
get Ann.
I'll
Yeah.
go sign that.
Yeah.
It'd be tough. It'd be tough.
Yeah.
And we're going to invite John, if he wants to come up here one final time and come up here and plug his business as well. Of course, here at Eco Nutrition here in Rockwall. Look for the giant Texas flag, of course. John, you are on. It's a little delayed as far as it goes, but you are on, I promise. There you go. So, John, the floor is yours.
Hey, I really appreciate y'all coming out. I've been born and raised here in Rockwall, so been a Yellow Jacket for forever. So sorry, guys.
That's all right. That's all right.
So I appreciate y'all coming out. We're happy to help the community any way we can. So again, we're happy to host y'all, and we'll host you again in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And,
Let me
and
get
what-
the camera? Look, you can barely tell the difference between me.
We're
and
exactly
John.
the same. We're
Yeah,
Same person.
Pretty much. Look at
Same
that.
person.
separated at
Yeah,
birth.
yeah, it's very similar.
Yes.
Okay.
And, John, what class are you of Rockwall?
I graduated in 2000.
So the class of 2000, Billy. There you
All
go.
right. Yeah, that makes me feel so old. I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
Len passes high school class
85.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was 4.
Yeah. See, thank you.
So you share a birthday with New Coke. I like our.
It was
our
Back to the Future that came out.
Back to the Future and New Coke. That's what it's
Yeah.
all about.
Yeah, so there you go.
Van Halen. I mean,
Van Halen.
some great
Yes.
music. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We'll,
Okay.
we'll let
We
John.
could add another 20 minutes to the show with that. Thanks to John.
Well, we appreciate. Thank you, John, for hosting us. Of course, we'll be back here in a couple weeks to have another show. And don't forget, this Friday night, it's Rockwall Heath at home. And then Rockwall will take on Rowlett over at HBJ. Excited for football this week. Rockwall looks to go 1-1 and even that record. Of course, Rockwall Heath looks to go 2-0 for the first time since
2015.
2015. That's been 4 years if you could do the math, because I know I can't. So I did it, I think. So thanks again, everybody, for watching us. Of course, thank you to Jet behind the camera, running the camera for us tonight. Appreciate him each and every week. So once again, thank you to Rockwall Sportscenter for sponsoring our show each week. And once again, thank you to Eco Nutrition. We will see you guys next week live from the Flower Box. Until then, don't forget.
Oh, Jacket Fight never dies.
And
Go Heath Hawks.
because of that, we're better together. Have a great week, everybody. And we'll see you at the games on Friday night.